Okay, another day has escaped me. What is it, like 7:30? Wow. All right, but this guy is we almost got it pretty much sorted out. So we got this guy and we just put it in the car. We got the angle that we needed sorted and figured, and that's just gonna weld. We just got to cut this hole right there. I wanted to get this guy cut here. This is you guys see how this line comes in right here. What this does is it just blocks it off. Let me see if I can get in there. See if I can get you a look down in there. I kind of notched it to drop down in the notch so it goes in between the two right there, and then I'll just single bead weld that all the way around, which will weld it in place nice and neat. We got to make the holes for our bungs, and then we'll be ready to weld everything on. All right, guys, so the radiator is almost done. It was like welding shit. It was not easy. So just I'm not like, so this stuff was like tinfoil thin. Like it really was. I cut some off. Let me see if I can find it in the trash can here. Of course I sweat. It's not a very, well, it's a little piece of it. The end tanks. Ow. Right there. And you can see this stuff is just, I mean, it's crazy thin, crazy easy to bend. Yeah, so, congrats to the guys that work with that. I'm not trying to say that to impress you in no way, shape, or form. I'm just letting you know that I was welding 1/8, 0.125 wall to that, like 60 thou, 30 thou, whatever it is, and it was challenging. So especially right in here on these guys, like I kind of cleaned the stuff back as best I could, and then I took the torch and I ran it through here just real light, not trying to melt anything, just kind of using like the cleaning action, and ran it. But it was ugly, especially on this side over here, ugly. And that's what we're doing. We're vacuum testing it right now, and it's not holding the vacuum. It has a super slow leak in it, so I need to see if it's my boost. I was just trying to cheat. This was just a quick way to find a plug for that guy. So let me find something to fit in there, plug that guy up, pressure check it. Hopefully there is no leaks. If it fails, this is vacuum. It's a lot easier to do a vacuum on. It's a lot easier on the actual radiator if you're doing a vacuum as opposed to blowing it up like a balloon. That can sometimes go tragically wrong. Yay! All right, so that is the saga of the radiator that was too big or was too far back. So now we have a Volvo style radiator. I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive. I have this adhesive silicone high temp tape stuff that's like about 1 inch or 2 inches wide and about a 1/2 inch thick. They'll sit here. This will just sit up on that rail. This guy will have that, basically that tube that I told you about, the same tube you use to insulate your hot water pipes. It'll basically go around this guy, and this will basically free float. There'll be a couple bungs we'll add for the condenser up front and the fan on the back. But other than that, this guy's done. Anyway, that's just going to sit on the frame that is running across, that is a little bit forward to where the old radiator used to sit, and that's just going to free float on that bar. There's a bar down there, just trust me. And then on either side there's just a little bit of room around this guy, as you'll see when we put this guy on here too. This thing, it looks like it sits flush, but actually it goes up right here, so there's actually quite a bit of space between those two right there. So this is when our pull noodle comes in handy. As long as you get one that's like rated for some heat, you can get whatever you want. It's just, obviously you have to think about that and include that into the deal. But basically you just stuff it in between the two where you want it to go. I'm just gonna whoop, And then the other side, the same thing. And we'll just cut off the extra. And that makes a nice, sorry, excuse me, a nice seal around the radiator, so anything that comes in has to go through. So when this guy goes on here, you see it has a little bit of little space, and yeah, it'll just squish it down, which will kind of hold the radiator in place as well, although the hoses are mostly going to hold the radiator in place, is what we're mostly counting on. Of course you do. So yeah, it's nice and tucked away. You can kind of see our pull mule back there, and yeah, nice tight fit. Freed up all of this here to work with. So much room for activities. All right, we have the shroud pretty much done here. Just got to assemble it. If I did everything right, it should go together well. Here is the shroud we made. You guys can see we just used the C-channel around it. I stitched it on the inside there, so might make a nice seal. Just you know, keep it from rattling, banging around. Kind of like sweat. The neat thing about like using this U-channel or C-channel, whatever the hell it is. You know, anybody could do it. All right, so these guys just hold this thing in place. This is just like a plate. We got the aluminum C-channel and the gasket maker all the way around the bottom. You see it fits nicely all the way through there. We got our two fans, and as we spin it over, don't worry. All right, and it's much the same on the top. We got our little gasket. It goes all the way around. Nice tight seal. We'll just cut this one bolt down just a hair, and it'll fit in there no problem. All right, we're just gonna turn on the big boy. Here, ground, boop, hot. Boop. Yeah. We got fans running. We got fans running. You don't want that to hit ground. And, yeah. Oh shit, sucker! That wasn't that good. Try again, Mike. You suck. You throw like a girl. Yeah! Yay! Ah. And dun 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 dun. Uh-oh. Boy, these factory connectors, man, they are just literally falling apart. I'm not supposed to have the biodegradable harness, but boy, I tell you what, look at that. These things are just falling apart. The insides of these things, complete crap. And then the little terminals are coming out, which is that's the only bad thing I've really noticed on the Volvo. Otherwise, it's just been, you know, you can't complain. Oh, damn. Damn, look at that, son. Bob is unimpressed. But yeah, I'm not totally mad about that. Pretty stock. Nothing really fancy going on. And yeah. So, whoa. You always zoom the wrong way because you're an idiot, Mike. Because you are an idiot. All right. So we got this whole list of things to do. So there's nothing, it's not like we're suddenly done, but pretty happy with the whole, you know, that was one of the big problems. You know, whenever you're doing these swaps, it's always just the filling in the gaps between the two. You got the GM engine transmission and then whatever else with all the rest of the stuff. And it's just bridging those spaces in between systems. So now the cooling system is set up. This means that we can get this mounted and we can start running the hard lines for the air conditioner and the soft lines for the air conditioner. We can start getting those ran, figuring out where we want our bulkhead in the firewall and all that stuff. But I'm gonna skip that for. I'm gonna actually kind of push a lot of that onto Jacob, because he's doing the air conditioner for me. And if I don't have to think about it, then hey, I kind of win a little bit. And we'll go on to maybe this box. I'll just stick with what I know. This cold air intake. So now mind you, this is all just trash right here, so don't get all worked up, but this thing was gonna go here, basically. Yep, and then it'll zoom you over into the box. You see we mark that little spot right there, and it'll go through. I mean, this is just obviously just a little bit so I can kind of get my bearings on everything, but it'll go in there, and then the air filter will sit in this box, and it'll sit in here nice and tight, and we'll have some sills and whatnot, so we'll be pulling in cold air. We'll be using all those little old school NA tricks that they say makes horsepower. We'll have cold air intakes and headers and an intake manifold and all the BS. It'll be interesting to see what this thing makes. So we got basically factory 5.3 with a cam, just a mild truck cam, headers, intake, the fast intake. The only reason I bought that is just because we're in the apocalypse and you can't find old LS6 and LS1 intakes or the knockoff versions of them anymore. So it was just made as much sense to spend a few extra bucks and pick up something that would be nice. So yeah, rambling, need to get back to work.